Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another manga review. And today we're going to be taking a look at Fairy Tail from Hiro Mashima with volume 34 and the continuation of the Grand Magic Games, day 3 of 5. And while on day 1, of course, both Fairy Tail teams had a horrible start, and really Fairy Tail Team A got screwed over because we all know Lucy was about to beat Flare, but you had that guy in Raven Tail cheating in the stands. But on day 2, Fairy Tail got some more points. We had Natsu and Gajiel do okay, I guess, in the contest where they had to race on moving vehicles. And of course, the two of them have motion sickness. But the thing is, and this is definitely going to make the difference, Sting from Sabretooth gave up and ended up getting 0 points. And Natsu got 2 points, Gajiel got 1 point. So those 2 and 1 point can make the difference when it's all said and done, with Sting giving up there. And Natsu and Gajiel proving that they have what it takes to fight on for every last point. And then, of course, we had the epic showdown between Elfman and Bacchus, where Elfman stood his ground in honor of his sisters, and he defeated Bacchus, and just a tremendous battle right there. So it actually ended up with Natsu storming Sabretooth's inn, because, well, Yukino of Sabretooth lost her battle to Kagura, and then she was summoned by the Master Ziema, and he basically told her, to further humiliate her, he told her to strip her clothes and to remove her guild mark, and she's been excommunicated from Sabretooth. And of course, Natsu and the gang ran into her, in the town, and Natsu was like, "What's wrong?" She looked so sad, and, she told him what happened. So Natsu stormed into Sabretooth's inn, ready to challenge Master Ziema. And, well, you may notice on the cover, Natsu's just a little chibi version, and Urza takes center stage here. And just wait till you see Urza's chapter, where she represents Fairy Tail Team A in the Grand Magic Games in day 3 here. So let's get right to it. Some great stuff going on. Oh yeah, and then the mystery with Jalal and Dorenbolt. Of course, Dorenbolt working for the council, Jalal assuming the identity of Mystigan, and that whole thing going on. And then here's a shot of Gray and Juvia. But yeah, Natsu charged right in there, and you see Master Ziema here, this big muscular man. He kind of reminds me of Oron, the way he has his gi there. You know how Oron from Final Fantasy X had the one arm out where he uses his sword? Ready to challenge him. And everyone in the guild is just looking at him like, what is he going to pick a fight with the Master for? And even the Exceeds. Is he suicidal? Fro thinks so also. So Natsu is, just saying, you get no respect from me. The way you treat your guild members, how dare you? Because Natsu was raised by the Master Makarov, who treats the guild like family. And this guy, all he cares about is winning. So, of course, Yukino lost, and then also Sting came in last place, so he's pissed. Sabretooth had 0 points of day 2. So he sends out this guy here, Dorvan Gall, and he charges at Natsu. Natsu defeats him with 1 hit, and he's ready to go head-to-head with Ziema. So the two of them are, facing off, and this guy's pretty powerful. I mean, Natsu gets a hit right in his face there, but Ziema can block his fire attacks, and really not too much. So what happens here is Minerva, this woman here, Minerva, shows up, and she's actually the daughter of Master Ziema and one of the more powerful wizards in the Sabretooth Guild. And she says, we can't be squabbling here. This would tarnish the Grand Magic Games, 2 rival guilds attacking each other on the brink of killing each other. So we can't have that. And actually has an ultimatum for Natsu because she captured Happy. And look at Happy here. I'm sorry, Natsu. Aww. So she has Happy as leverage and says, look, Natsu, leave, or there won't be any harm to your stupid cat. And, we don't want any more violence and destruction. And you see outside, everything is destroyed and all sorts of crazy stuff. And even Ziema concedes, that brat has guts. Let us finish this fight at the Grand Magic Games in a spectacular fashion. And Minerva, because of course Yukino has been expelled from the guild, Minerva takes Yukino's spot with the 5 members. So, the two of them, you saw too with Rogue, how he mentioned, why are we expelling Yukino? She's a comrade of ours, she's a friend. And he says right here, comrade, you're saying that's a bond we in this guild do not have? Natsu Dragneel. I didn't know he was that strong. You see, Sting is shaking in his boots there. So, get ready for this. And Yukino sees what's going on. She's like, oh, Natsu, thanks for sticking up for me. Gets that whole thing. And here we are with day 3 of the games, the next event. And we have our announcer here with his toupee. You saw his toupee fly off in the last volume. And Lahar from the Magic Council is the guest commentator. Of course, they've had the guest commentators in all the different days. And he's Day 3's guest commentator. He also encourages Dorenbolt to go watch the games in the stands, to watch Fairy Tail in action again. You know, because Dorenbolt has the guilt of leaving Fairy Tail there behind on Sirius Island 7 years ago. But it wasn't his fault. I mean, what could he really do? You had Acnologia and Zareth on that island. So, representing everyone in the games for Day 3, we have Urza, of course. I shall go. Look at her, all determined. Let me go. Look at Natsu. Let me go. Kana is joining for Team B because Mystigan decides to sit it out because Lahar is the guest commentator. I mean, Lahar is out to get Jalal. I mean, you think he's going to be suspicious. He sees a guy out there that looks very similar to Jalal. You know, oh, Mystigan. No, you're not. You're Jalal, bro. So Kana is the reserve, and everyone's like, wait, what is she doing out there? She's half of the bag, you know, because she's always drinking. That's her running gag. And then because Urza's participating, Miliana says, I'm going to go. I'm going to go against Urchan. Then we have Obra of Raventail, Hibiki, Olga, and Jorah. So the event here is, oh, and this guy here, but this is the Jobber Guild, Quattro Puppy. Yeah, they had to change their name because Elfman defeated Bacchus, and their stipulation was if Bacchus won, he would get Elfman's 2 sisters for the night, and if Elfman won, which he did, they changed their name from Quattro Cerberus to Quattro Puppy. But the challenge here is called Pandemonium, and basically there's 100 monsters in this palace, and they're all separated by levels of how powerful they are. Of course, S being the strongest, A, B, C, and D. You can figure that out. You know, that's the strongest, and they progressively get weaker. And and here's what one of the monsters looks like. And they're like, oh no, what the hell is this thing? Showing how powerful they are. And they're gonna, you know, pick a straw out of the hat, and basically whatever number you have, you can decide to go in there first, and you say, oh, I want to challenge 10 monsters, and if you challenge and defeat all 10 monsters, you get 10 points, but then the next person goes around. So it's a little bit of luck, and it's a little bit about pacing yourself to defeat the most monsters. So Urza is able to draw the first stick, and she says, I am number 1, and then Kana's like, oh, I got number 8, that stinks, and Urza says, I figured this game would all depend on the number I drew, and Matel, you mean luck of the draw? No, maybe, but I don't think so. The game is set up to be based on how you pace yourself and how well you sum up the situation. No, the game is over. I will take on all 100 monsters. I choose the number 100. Look at this shot, dude, of Urza. Holy shit, man. Look how epic that is. And everyone in the stands in complete shock. You know, all the competitors, Mato's hat flying off. Even Minerva is shocked. Mavis and Makarov are shocked. The people in the stands. Natsu and Gray are like, ha, yeah, Urza's got this in the bag. Because they know how strong she is. Even Dorenbolt, who was advised to watch this to see his old fairy tale buddies compete. And so be it. And, you know, I don't really like this because they kind of just do a couple pages in Urza's battle. It would have been cool if it was a whole chapter of her fighting the monsters. But 100 monsters, I mean, that would be like the whole volume, right? But look at this epic shot of her with her battle wounds. And it says, as she sustained wound after wound, the fairy should have fallen, but instead she danced. This was Titania, the fairy queen. And she did it, man. She did it. Look at that shot, too, of her. And everyone looking on from the stands, you see Kagura with that menacing look. Jalal's like, oh, yeah, she did it. Everyone. Sting, you know, the whole fairy tale crew there. Lucy, Wendy, and Gray. Team B. The announcers, look at their face, bro. Dorenbolt's crying. She was like a beautiful scarlet flower in full bloom. I don't believe my eyes. All alone, she vanquished all 100 monsters. She has cleared the entire palace. Is this the true power of the guild that 7 years ago was known as the strongest in the land? And look at her, Urza, she did it, man. I love it. I wish they would have expanded, like I just said before, made it a little longer, but still, I can appreciate that. And goddamn, the come from behind victory seems like it's going to happen. So again, everyone's watching from the stands, Dorenbolt. Everyone's going to greet her, like, yay, Urza, you did it. That was incredible. And because of that, you know, the way they were going to determine the other points, of course, Urza gets 10 points. But in the first game, you know, they have the one-on-one match where you either get 10 points if you win, 5 points if you draw, or 0 points if you lose. But for these games, you get 10, 9, 8, etc. for all the different teams. So to figure out who's going to place second, third, fourth, etc., they have this thing called the Magic Power Finder, and basically they got to use one of their attacks on this artifact here, and it'll determine your MP, and whoever has the most gets the most points. So here they are. Here's Miliana using Kitten Blast, 365. And then, like I said, the Jobber, 1-something, 90-something. And then, Ichiya, he's subbing back in. Trust in your friend, men. Yeah, there he is, our boy Ichiya. Obra, who, this is the guy who negated Lucy's attack at the end there against Flare. I don't know why he's just doing 4, because clearly he's pretty powerful. But anyway, and then the whole running gag, Kana boozing it up, and she steals Mato's hat, and everyone else is doing their techniques. You have this guy from Raventail who gets, in the 4 figures there, almost 4,000, and he uses thunder magic, or lightning magic, Black Thunder Cannon, and you see Loxus looking on, sort of foreshadowing that the two of them might meet later in the competition. Then, of course, we have Jorah, who's a wizard saint, one of the 10 most powerful wizards in the land anyway. So, goddamn. And they're like, oh, what was that? And last but not least is our girl Kana. And then she has the bottle in her hand. It's my turn. She starts taking her shirt off. Now, and that's why she had the shirt on, because she was hiding her tattoo there, the fairy glitter tattoo that she got from Mavis. And they're looking. And the master's like, no, what have you done, Mavis? Oh, so we could win. I gave her my spell. So, but Kana did use this spell back on Sirius Island. She wasn't powerful enough, but of course, the 7 years have passed. She's done her own training and can now use the Fairy Glitter spell, one of the 3 sacred spells of the Fairy Tail Guild. And holy shit, dude, look at her just blast that thing away. And 9,999. Oh, yeah. So Kana comes in, Urza came in first place, but I guess Kana came in second place. But in terms of this contest, she comes in first place. And you got her little pose. No one can stop us. Why? Because we're Fairy Tail. Oh, man, I love it. So watching that, we see that Raventail, again, is scheming. And they're like, oh, get ready. Finally, the time has come. Let us go. And you see the leaderboard changing a little. Look at Fairy Tail Team A shooting up all the way to 4th place. Oh, yeah. And then, Raventail's been in the lead because Sabretooth got 0 points in day 2. And the leaderboard is changing. So, there's some more one-on-one matches. We have Miliana versus, who's she even, some dude from Quattro Puppy. Just one panel fight, just easily defeats him. We have Rufus versus Eve. And this guy, of course, being from Sabretooth, he's going to defeat him, which he does. He has the memory make magic, so he can copy everyone's spells. And there's some foreshadowing, because Ichiya kept saying, and we saw in the opening ceremony, the rabbit here is the 5th member of Blue Pegasus. And Ichiya's like, men, we have our secret weapon. And they're like, well, you never even told us who's in the rabbit costume. All will be revealed soon, men. It'll happen soon enough. Look at him. Look at his pose. Men! So then we have Loxus facing off against Raventail's Alexi. You can see Loxus one-on-one for the first time in a while. And Fairy Tail has taken extra precaution because, like I said earlier, Lucy had her match against Flare and she had it won, but Obra used his spell to cancel Lucy's ultimate attack. And so, taking all these extra measures, we have Warren, who has the telepathy magic, Bisca, who uses gun magic, and she's up there sniping, and they're keeping an eye on the master of Raventail, Master Ivan. Like, what the hell is this fucker doing? And then you have the Raging Tribe over here, who are, Loxus' bodyguards, and they're just keeping an eye on everybody. So, it starts right away with Loxus getting his ass beat by this dude named Alexi. And they're in complete shock, because, Loxus is one of the strongest members aside from Gildarts is definitely the strongest in Fairy Tail, but Loxus is probably the second strongest. And as all this is going on, the announcer is saying this is completely one-sided, and then it cuts over here to Loxus watching himself getting beaten, and he's like, what is this, an illusion or something? It's like, yes, you're going to tell me something, and as this is going on, we'll put up a ruse and have you be defeated, haha, and all of Raventail will face you. So this guy, using his illusion spell, that can be 5-on-1, completely unfair. And, Ivan here, that's the master of Raventail. He ends up being Alexei, right? He takes off the mask and it's Ivan. And he's the father of Laxus, also the son of Makarov. And you say, yeah, I figured this would happen. Dad, you asshole. And Ivan is looking for this thing called the Lumen Histoire, which is like an ancient artifact that only the masters of the Fairy Tale Guild know. It holds an ancient power. And he assumes because he's Makarov's grandson that Makarov told him about it. But Laxus legitimately doesn't know. He says, I have no idea what you're talking about, old man. And he says, come at me, all of you at once. The master's enemies are my enemies. So Laxus getting ready to take on 5 people at once. Gotta love that. So yeah, what happens is Laxus reveals the fact that, they actually had Gagiel. This is way, way back, but Gagiel was working undercover after he left the Phantom Lord Guild, and he was part of Ivan's guild getting info on him, but also part of Fairy Tale, and that's where Laxus reveals that, and, taking all the precautions against him, and he's completely pissed off, and he's like, oh, shut up! I've lived in the shadows for years, all of it preparing for this day. It was all so I could get my hands on the Lumen Histoire. Oh. And Laxus still is like, what the fuck is the Lumen Histoire, dude? Asshole. You haven't seen your son in how many years, and you're doing all this, and this is where he comes to the realization that, this guy, Obra, was the one who used the magic to cancel things out, and also was the one who, attacked Wendy. His little guy, I can't find him here on any of these panels, but he has that little imp-looking thing with him that attacked Wendy and Carl before the games even began. So as he's taking everyone out, he takes this guy who was mocking Gray in the first game. This is for Gray! This is for Lucy! Going after Flair. Takes care of him. I will crush my family's enemies! Yeah! Look at that panel right there. So good, man. I love it. And as all that happens, the illusion goes away because Ivan was the one concocting it, and because his magic power has been depleted, the illusion's gone, and everyone sees all 5 members of Raventail in the middle there, and they're in complete shock, and of course, Laxus won. This guy from Sabretooth is looking on again, sort of foreshadowing that they're going to face off later on. And Makarov, again with the dirty tricks, how dare you! And then right before he leaves, he says, the Lumen Histoire is the darkness of Fairy Tale. Someday you will know about it and see the truth about Fairy Tale. So, he's like, oh, what the fuck? So the royal guards escort them out, and, well, Raventail gets disqualified, but we learn that a little bit later. So for the final match of the day, we have our girl Wendy, who is now recovered with Fairy Tale Team A, going up against Lamia Scales' Sheria, another little girl. And the 2 little klutzes, as they're running out, they both fall over. And if you remember the first time we ever met Wendy during the Orashion Sace arc, when she came in there, she was the last guild to appear, and, she trips. So that's kind of paying homage to that. And the 2 of them are like, oh, let's just have a fun fight. So the 2 of them are getting ready for action. And then, Jalal is out there just investigating, and he has a shocked look to his face, and then it cuts over to Ultir and Meredy. Ultir, this magic! Yes, it's Zareth from the stadium. Ultir, Meredy, stand by, don't move from that spot. So wait a minute, what the hell? Zareth's in the stadium now? And the 2 of them are getting ready for action. We have Dorenbolt in the stands because back on Sirius Island, the 2 of them were a group when they had the S-Class exam. And they find out, well, of course, Wendy, she's improved quite a bit. She has her support spells, right? She's a Sky Dragon Slayer, so she knows how to heal. But she can also use, buffs and debuffs if we're thinking in JRPG mechanics. So that's what she does. And then we find out that Sheria is what's known as a Sky God Slayer. So she uses sky magic as well. Unbelievable. And they figure out it's one of the lost magics, and they're pretty evenly matched. Although Wendy's, because it's sort of healing magic, Wendy's magic in a certain sense heals Sheria, but her magic doesn't heal Wendy. So at this point, Sheria is more powerful than Wendy, but they put up a valiant effort fighting each other. And, Well, yeah, did I skip that with his hair? Yeah, there it is, I'm sorry. But with the wind and everything, his toupee flies off again, and here he is, sweating all over with the toupee gone, and they're like, your toupee. Because he's enjoying the match so much. But yeah, the two of them are, like I said, pretty evenly matched. And yeah, Wendy has the ultimate attack, the Dragon Slayer ultimate attack, which she learned from Portaliuska, who we learned is the Edalus version of Grandini, the dragon that raised her. And she used it. It's called the, can it focus there? The Flare Burst Sky Drill, otherwise known as the Shoha Tenkusen. So, does pretty well, but then Sheria gets up, and, you know, phew, I figured you were good, Wendy, but wow! And that's just that. That's where we learned that, you know, she's the Sky, well, we already knew that she's the Sky God Slayer, but Wendy's attacks sort of heal Sheria. And, you know, because Mystigan was running towards the stadium because he felt this strange magic linked to Zeref, he bumps into Dorimbolt. And Dorimbolt's like, Mystigan? What the fuck is Mystigan doing here? And he says, Sheria, it couldn't be that this little girl has some connection to Zeref, could it? That could put Wendy in grave danger. No, not Sheria. So, Dorimbolt's thinking, you know, what the hell's going on with Mystigan? He shouldn't be here because when he was undercover, right, as Mest, and he was in the Fairy Tale Guild, he had information on Mystigan and learned that he's been in Edalus for all these years, so there's no possible way because they closed it off. You can't go from Edalus to Earthland anymore. And so he doesn't understand what the hell he's doing here, so he, you know, being smart, realizes it's Jalal. So again, the two of them continue fighting, and just all sorts of crazy stuff going on. You know? So what happens is, it ends in a draw. The time expires. I think they had 30 minutes for the fight or something like that. Or maybe it's 30 minutes for the games and then like 15 minutes for the fight. But if it ends in a draw, you only get 5 points. And either way, they have their defeat and they both agree, you know, let's be friends after this. So that's kind of nice. Let's be friends, Wendy. Yeah, let's, Sheria. So the two of them are coming to terms. And also, yeah, Sheria heals Wendy. So you gotta love that. They had their fight, they went all out, but in the end, let's be friends. So Mystigan's walking around. He's trying to figure out what's going on. He senses even more magic, so he's heading into the Colosseum. It turns out it wasn't Sheria's magic, but someone else. And he sees something in the distance there, and haha, it's Dorimbolt, who actually has like teleportation magic. And he's like, yo, what are you doing here? Who are you? I know you're not Mystigan. Who are you? And Urza senses what's going on, of course. And then Lahar shows up. Of course, he's the one looking after Jalal, trying to arrest him because Jalal broke out of jail with ulterior merity. And they unmask him. And it's Jalal, what are you doing here? But then, in the nick of time, Yajima shows up, who was a former member of the council. And if we go way, way back, you know, Jalal was two people at once. He was Seagrain, who was also in the council, but then the two of them merged. And, you know, Yajima knows, because he's friends with Makarov. So him and Makarov are talking about what's going on, why Jalal's in the games here. And he knows that Jalal, Merity, and Ultir have Crime Sorcier, which is about dispatching the Dark Guilds. So he reveals the fact that Mystigan is a lookalike with Jalal, and that is true with Earthland and Edalus, and is able to persuade Lahar and Dorimbolt. But as all this is going on, Kagura and Miliana walk by, and of course Miliana was in the Tower of Heaven and subjugated to all sorts of abuse from Jalal, and then Kagura, we learn that she has her weapon, the Arch Enemy Sword, and wants to kill Jalal. So the two of them see that, and they also know that, you know, Urza has been friendly with him, so they're just like, what is going on? Why is Urza giving him safe harbor? What is this nonsense? So he heads off, and Lahar, like, says, I know that's Jalal. We just let him off the hook because Yajima spoke up about it, so we have to honor his wishes. So anyway, Mystigan, or Jalal, I keep getting their names all confused because it is Jalal, but he's wearing the Mystigan outfit, and he wanders off trying to figure out whose magic that was that he sensed, and what the deal is. So Lox is sitting down with his grandfather, wondering what the hell the Lumen Histoire is. He says, Ivan said his fairy tale's darkness. And Mavis shows up and says, you know, it's the myth of light, the light of our guild, and, you know, we can't have any of this information getting out. It's held strictly for the guild masters, so you're not allowed to know quite yet. But that's that. So some more plot threads to develop as the story goes on, I suppose. And all sorts of other good stuff. So here they all are celebrating after their great victories. Urza getting the win, and Wendy and Sharia having their draw to get 5 points. They did relatively well today. And of course, Loxus getting the win, so he got 10 points. And then we have Evergreen, who's been checking on Elfman. And, Elfman's thing is, a real man. And he sees Evergreen, watching over him. What a woman. So you gotta love Elfman there. He's got his little girl watching him. And to celebrate, these crazy people, Natsu doing barrel surfing. Aye, sir! With his motion sickness, he falls down, causes all sorts of destruction. And Gray's like, it's my turn. Ride it, Gray. Look at her go. And then Urza, I shall attempt it next. Hiya! And she was wearing all these bandages before. Now she's all, cleaned up after her grueling battle. So everyone's having a great time, celebrating. It's a beautiful thing. You gotta love it. And then it cuts over to all the other guilds thinking about how they're gonna advance in the next day, in day 4. And, you have Sting saying, oh, we're gonna face Natsu soon. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, that's right. I was skipping some text. But yeah, day 4, they've already figured out they're gonna have a tag match. And the main event is gonna be Sting and Rogue versus Natsu and Gajil, so that'll be awesome. You got Kagura, you got Miliana, Jalal, Arcadios, we haven't seen at all throughout this volume, and then Yukino, who has now become a part of the army. It says Sergeant Yukino Agria reporting for duty. So some more foreshadowing to what's going on for the fateful day, which is going to be July 7th, 777, right? What the hell's that all about, right? And then, look at this, man. Gotta love this drawing. But yeah, the next match here, we're in day 4, and we're starting with the Naval Battle, which is an event for all the ladies to partake in water, in their sexy bathing suits. And this dude, he's got his new toupee. And then the 4th guest announcer is this dude from the theater really early on. Remember when Urza and Gray, it was Urza, Gray, Natsu, and Lucy, they were all in the play, but Urza was really into performing in the play, and then she got all nervous when she was on stage. But wow, how's Sharia competing again? That's pretty crazy. But we have Sharia, Jenny, Leslie, Juvia. Juvia's gonna rock in the water, because of course she's a water mage. Minerva with her debut, and Lucy. Oh yeah. And then, Quattro Puppy doesn't have any chicks, so they have this dude, Rocker, out there. And, Lucy and Juvia theoretically have the advantage because, of course, Juvia uses water magic, and Lucy has Aquarius. So she sends Aquarius right out there to do battle, and then Juvia uses Water Cyclone, and we get a nice ass shot at Juvia. I mean, hell yeah, dude. But they send Rocker out right away, so it's an all-girls match with Jenny kicking him out, and Leslie, her power, she can transform, and she says, don't underestimate the chub, and she has, gravity magic. And Lucy's about to be sent flying out, and she summons, her female spirits there. We have Virgo and Aries again for more good stuff. What does she say? I'm your sexy guard, princess. I'm so puffy. Please forgive me. Anyway, so they're all doing battle, and with one attack, Juvia eliminates Jenny, Leslie, and Sharia. So now it's just Juvia, Minerva, and Lucy. And Juvia is celebrating yay, I did it. Look at Juvia. Look how good Juvia is. Won't you look at me, Gray Sava? And in her gloating and trying to get Gray's attention. And Gray makes that face. She falls out. Oh, poor Juvia. So it's down to just Minerva and Lucy. So one of the stipulations of this event, too, was the fact that when it's down to one person, if it's one-on-one here. If the loser gets sent out of the ring, they get 0 points unless they can withstand the 5 minutes. So we know that Minerva's extremely powerful. Lucy's no match for her. And Minerva is beating her to a pulp. And, she's trying to be eliminated. But Lucy continues to fight and says, I have to do this for the guild. I have to get the points for Fairy Tale. But just totally getting destroyed by Minerva. Look at the evil look in Minerva's face right there. Just brutalizing her as everyone's watching, and what can they even do? Natsu, stop it! What are you doing? And Arcadios, he says, stop the match, because he's plotting to do something with the Celestial Wizards for Eclipse, and all be revealed soon. So, oh man, my poor girl Lucy, all bloodied and bruised again. I mean, she already had a grueling battle with Flare, and here she is getting abused by Minerva. Why? Why do they keep doing this to my girl? But another fantastic volume. I love it. Here's some more concept art right there with Mato and Urza and all sorts of other good stuff. But this was fantastic, man. If you're an Urza fan, oh, I can only imagine like how awesome this was. Because when I was reading it for the first time, like this whole like sequence right here, the game is over. I will take on all 100 monsters. Look at her go. And then of course, where is it? Right there, where she defeats them all. That's awesome. So I loved it, and I'm just really sad to see my girl Lucy get abused by these people, but maybe she'll get her redemption soon enough. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thought in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more reviews coming soon. Have a great day, everybody.